Welcome to the channel, my people. Today we'll be taking a look at the trailer for the movie Godzilla Minus One. Now, I've seen the movie, and so I'm going to talk it up. So you might want to take a pass if you don't want to hear any spoilers. Ready? Let's begin. Now, the main players are Godzilla, of course, then Kōichi, a former kamikaze pilot, Noriko, a homeless woman who has a baby that Kōichi later takes in, and Akiko, the little adopted daughter. Kōichi is a kamikaze pilot who fakes a mechanical problem with his plane, landing it on a plane maintenance island. If you'll remember, the role of a kamikaze was to crash their planes that were loaded with bombs and torpedoes into Allied warship. As a result of this whole kamikaze mindset, the planes they flew were built without ejection seats. Thus, you were expected to go down with your plane. Kōichi just couldn't do it, and so he pretended to have a mechanical problem with his plane that necessitated him leaving the thick of battle and flying the plane to the airplane maintenance island. While Kōichi and the mechanics are on the distant island, Godzilla shows up and does his Godzilla thing. Kōichi doesn't engage Godzilla. Instead, he's hiding. He's afraid like all the other guys on the island. And by the time Godzilla is done doing his Godzilla thing, only Kōichi and another mechanic are left alive. The mechanic blames Kōichi for the loss of the other mechanics, which is crazy, right? Any bombs Kōichi had on his plane would have had no effect on Godzilla. But yet this mechanic blames him. And guess what? Kōichi blames himself. The other guy calls him a coward, and guess what? He believes it. He actually thinks he's a coward. So Kōichi returns home to discover the place leveled from bombings. His parents are gone as a result. He's looking like a coward by many in his community because kamikazes typically don't return home from war. Kōichi is dealing with survivor's guilt over the loss of his parents and that he didn't kamikaze himself. He's having nightmares, so I believe he's struggling with some PTSD as well. Kōichi meets the homeless Noriko, who has a little baby with her. The baby isn't hers, but the mother passed away, and before she did, Noriko promised to take care of the little one. So, Kōichi takes them in, and they become a family of sorts, but he's still haunted by the war. In the meantime, Godzilla is running amok. He tore up the maintenance island, he's attacking fishermen on the ocean, and in the midst of all of this, the government is keeping everything contained and hidden from the general public's knowledge. Japan is still trying to recover from the war, and they just don't know how to deal with this. However, they could not keep this a secret for long because Godzilla goes buck Godzilla wild and tears a city apart. If the news wasn't out before then, the news is out now. Kōichi and Noriko were both in the city at the time of Godzilla's attack, and Kōichi believes that Noriko perished in the massive citywide destruction, and he vows revenge. The government still won't act, but a group of war veterans and fishermen will. They hatch a plan to sink Godzilla in the ocean, crushing it. Kōichi is involved in a second plan. The second plan is for him to fly a repaired fighter plane loaded up with bombs into Godzilla's mouth and explode the bombs while in Godzilla's mouth. I kid you not, that is a very legitimate plan of theirs. And it is the second plan, the one involving Kōichi, that really gives them the ground they need to take Godzilla out and ending Godzilla as a threat. He soon receives news that Noriko is in fact alive, and he and the little adopted daughter Akiko rush to the city for a heartfelt reunion. He tells Noriko he's moved past his guilt, and we can see them becoming a real family. What made this movie so good was that it's simply a great story with two very strong plots. If you took Godzilla completely out of the story involving Kōichi and Noriko is strong enough to keep the viewer engaged. If you took this little family out of the story, Godzilla running amok could carry the whole thing by himself. Thus, together, it was an engaging story. When my Godzilla-obsessed nephew asked me to go to the movies with him, all I could do was groan and roll my eyes, and since I'm his beloved auntie, I went with him. I figured there was at least popcorn in this, right? But I didn't expect what I got in addition. One heck of a sweet love story, terror, horror, a monster running amok, and ultimately me loving every moment of it. And yes, I will admit, I really did love this movie. Leaving the theater, my nephew asked me what I thought, and I gave it 2 thumbs up and told him it was a strong 10 out of 10. At the end of the day, it was a total pleasant surprise. A Japanese-made movie, English subtitles, no celebrity actor or actress, no named star in the movie, and it was still a blockbuster, a great movie, which tells you at the end of the day, you simply need a great story to make a great movie. You don't need a lot of special effects, celebrities, or high-powered actors or actresses. You simply need a good, engaging story that's going to keep the viewer on the edge of their seat. And this is exactly my takeaway. It was one of the best movies that I saw in 2023. Hands down. Well, there you have it, my people. My sort of kind of long trailer review. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, be sure to subscribe, like, leave a comment. Until next time.